Back in 2019, I watched a video online that startled me because it informed me that our mathematicians have not yet agreed conclusively amongst themselves on what the definition of the word number is, and that modern mathematics to this day does not have anything that qualifies as an actual agreed upon foundation. A foundation is an understanding of the very simplest truths and understandings of whatever system of thought one cares to mention. For a system of thought to be definitively coherent, it must be built upon and from the very simplest and most obvious and most self-evident of truths. If a system of thought is not built upon a solid foundation of the simplest truths, then this system of thought can literally only be, at best, a useful hack, a workaround for not knowing the simplest truths. It turns out that with human culture not yet having worked out what the definition of the word number is, and therefore not yet having established a true and actual foundation for mathematics, that almost all of the systems of thought of human culture are without foundation, including our understandings of physics. As I say, I was startled to discover this, and it was the watching of this video that acted as a catalyst for me. A catalyst for a whole sequence of events in my life that has transformed me and the ways in which I think about myself, my life, my existence, and this human world that I am a part of. The biggest, bluntest, most direct outcome of this catalyst was my coming to the understanding that human culture is wrong. Just plain old wrong about almost everything. Plain old wrong about almost everything at the foundational level, at the very most simplest levels of understanding regarding our assumptions of what reality is and why and how reality is as it is. Human culture is plain old wrong. And to notice this and to state this is not a crime. It is a good and simple thing to notice and to state. It is a helpful thing to notice and state. Helpful to all of us. Human culture is wrong. It is not human culture's fault that it is wrong, but it is wrong all the same. And for somebody to point this out and to show exactly how human culture is wrong is just about the most helpful thing a person could do for all of us humans here in this world. There is only one problem here. Although pointing out how human culture is wrong is just about the most helpful thing in the world a person could do right now, human culture itself is now massively invested in itself, massively invested in its own furtherance, massively invested in the hacks, the workarounds for not knowing the very most simplest of truths that underlie all reality, that have come to define human culture. That human culture is now massively resistant to being corrected. Human culture is wrong. It is fundamentally wrong. And it is okay to be wrong. But human culture is massively, massively, massively resistant to being told that it is wrong, even though human culture desperately needs, for its own well-being, to be shown where and how it is wrong. This is the situation we are all in together today. Since that catalyst moment back in 2019, I have been trying to share my insights, both with the people in my life and with the greater world at large. And this has turned out to be harder and more painful for me than I could have imagined when that catalyst moment happened. At the time of writing these words, I am living alone in a flat in Scotland that I am unable to meet the rent on. I have lost most of my friends, and those people who are still in my life do not know how to help me. And the work I release online is heavily suppressed by the very systems I am trying to help by showing them where they are going wrong. This is where I am in my life right now. So here's the question. Am I delusional or am I correct? It's a simple enough question. So let's look at the reasons why you shouldn't believe me, why you shouldn't believe in me. And following that, let's look at the reasons why you possibly should. So, what are the two most obvious and simple reasons you should not believe in me? 1. I disagree with the experts. 2. I'm clearly mentally unstable because I claim to be Jesus returned. These are two quite compelling reasons to not take this man seriously. Let's take them one at a time. So, reason number one, I disagree with the experts. Perhaps the most straightforward way to tackle this reason to not take me seriously is to simply compare what our experts say with what I say. So what is it that our experts say? Our experts say that they do not know what the word number means, which is true enough, but that the general consensus of opinion between them is that numbers are subjective extensions of human concepts. What does this mean? Essentially, what it means is that the things being measured or counted come first, and the mathematical numbers that we humans use to count or measure these things only come about as a result of those things we are measuring or counting being there in the first place. This does seem a reasonable enough proposition at first glance, but there is a problem here. The problem is that mathematical rules do not change, while the things that we count and measure are always subject to change. That one of a thing plus one more of the same kind of thing equals two of that thing is a simple fact. It is a truth that does not change. It does not become true as a result of you having one apple and then acquiring a second apple. To say that numbers are subject to, emergent from, the presence and behaviour of whatever it is that you are counting or measuring is to suggest that these truths are only true when they actually take place. None of us believes this, and yet our mathematicians have somehow managed to persuade themselves that it is so. So, while our mathematicians say that numbers are subjective, I say that numbers are objective. I say that numbers represent the objective quantities of whatever subjective qualities it is that we are using them to count or measure. So this is my definition of the word number. While our mathematicians, our experts, do not have one, but believe that numbers are something subjective, all the same. As I say, when we do not have an established foundation for our system of thought, we can only use our best hack, our best workaround so far for not having that foundation yet. And the core assumptions of our mathematicians today are patently wrong. Amongst other things, this is why our mathematicians cannot calculate the square roots of negative numbers. Because they see numbers as being subjective things, our mathematicians believe numbers can be multiplied by themselves. But when we understand that numbers represent the objective quantities of whatever subjective qualities we are measuring or counting, it is not at all difficult for us to understand that quantities in reality cannot be multiplied by themselves. They can only be multiplied by other quantities, whether of the same value or not. So, for example, when we say that our square carpet covers an area of 25 square feet, it is only covering an area of 25 square feet because the length of the carpet has been multiplied by the width of it. One quantity has been multiplied by another quantity of the same value. The length of the carpet has not been multiplied by itself. The length hasn't been multiplied by the length. Our mathematics are meant to model our reality accurately. But when we make errors like this at the foundational level, these errors only become amplified as we build further and further upon them. Hence, the need for such things as imaginary numbers to hack the problem of working with mistaken mathematics. What other kinds of things do our experts of the world say? According to our theoretical physicists, there is no such thing as anything that can be said to be non-physical. The gold standard of all research conducted by physicists is the empirical observation of that which is physical. And this empirical observation of the physical is carried out in the pursuit of as pure an understanding of the physics of reality as can be attained. In the same way that our mathematicians are seemingly unaware that mathematical truths are real, even when they are not conspicuously in effect, so too are our physicists unaware that it is an absolute logical necessity that the physical must have a non-physical cause. Because to say the cause of physical phenomena is a physical phenomenon is an untenable paradox. Our theoretical physicists say that the three spatial dimensions are made of something. Something that can be sometimes curved and sometimes straight. While I say that the three spatial dimensions are not made of anything. They only contain the physical phenomena that physicists empirically observe. Our theoretical physicists say that time is made of something. Something that can be more dense in some places and less dense in others. While I say that time is not made of anything. It is only the simple truth of the fact that one moment follows another. I say that spatial dimensions and the passage of time are non-physical truths that account for and allow for the presence and behavior of physical activity. The non-physical cause of physical phenomena, that it is an absolute logical necessity that physical phenomena needs. Our theoretical physicists say that these spatial dimensions didn't used to be here, and there was a time when one moment did not follow another. While I say that without spatial dimensions and one moment following another, there could be no possible cause whatsoever of spatial dimensions and one moment following another, because there would be no place for this cause to take place and no time for it to take place. Our theoretical physicists say that undetectable quantum waves caused by the presence of physical matter cause the spatial dimensions and the passage of time to warp, which means that some objects fall to the ground while some stay in the sky. While I say that it is the universal expansion of physical matter that explains why matter does not seem to be expanding relative to itself, yet is still able to exert the acceleration of the expansion of very large bodies, such as the Earth, against relatively tiny bodies, such as humans. That provides the effect of gravity and explains why it is not detectable by scientific instruments other than bathroom scales and the like. Our theoretical physicists say that when photons are shot towards two slits and then form different patterns on the photosensitive plates they hit, depending on whether there are detectors detecting which slits have photons passing through them or not, that this is an indication of human observation causing superpositions of clouds of parallel probabilities to collapse. While I say could it not possibly be the photon detectors that are causing your interference pattern? Our physicists say that they have no foundation for any of their theories, but they hope to get there one day. While I say the only possible reason for existence is that there are some foundational and non-physical truths that are existentially incapable of not being true. That these non-physical truths absolutely must be in effect everywhere at all times, because they are literally, existentially incapable of not being. And that these truths are the three spatial dimensions and the non-physical truth that one moment follows another. Our physicists say that they do not know the cause of physical phenomena, while I say that non-physical truths in iteration relative to one another have contrasting qualities relative to one another, and that contrasting qualities in iteration relative to each other is what physical phenomena are. Our physicists say that they have no definitive explanation for consciousness, while I say that truths that are iterating relative to each other can only affect each other, which is mechanistically synonymous with them being sensitive to and conscious of each other. Our physicists say that human beings are the result of the blind energetic forces of the cosmos temporarily coming together and experiencing the illusion of consciousness, and that once the human body dies, this illusion dies forever. While I say that all there is in all existence is truths that are existentially incapable of not being true, existentially incapable of not being sensitive, of not being conscious, existentially incapable of ever stopping, of ever ending. And that if we are conscious, we are sensitive, then we are those truths. Because there is no room, no time, no possibility anywhere at any time in all existence for anything else. Our physicists say that we were not here before this life and will not be here afterwards, while I say that never-ending truth is never-ending truth in never-ending expansion, because it is forever accruing more and more past. And each time we expand into a higher order of scale of our own self-differentiation, we suffer an amnesia of what we experienced in our previous incarnations, because we are operating at a higher scale resolution of self-definition than those previous incarnations. We are eternal truth in living iteration, and we forget. Our physicists know less about physics than I do, and our mathematicians know less about mathematics than I do. Human culture says and believes the most ridiculous things. And as I say, it is not human culture's fault. But human culture becomes massively attached to the things it says. I am not here for no reason. I tell truths that can't be argued with, and so I am suppressed and ignored by the people I'm here to help. And really, all I want to do is talk freely, and for people to be free to listen. Do you think that you live in a country that does not suppress these kinds of freedoms? You do not. And it doesn't matter which country you are in. Do you have any idea of just how much human culture does not want you to know what the word number really means? How much it wants you to believe that the physical comes first and all truth follows from that. That is literally the very opposite of the truth. Human culture is the opposite of the truth. And it doesn't want you to care about this. So now we come to the second reason for you to not believe in me. I claim to be Jesus returned. I do claim this. Now, how much you even care about this should very much depend upon whether you are a Christian or not. The very last person that is likely to believe in the return of the one who truly was Jesus is a Christian. We are eternal truth in living iteration. The iteration of eternal truth is a wave. It is an oscillation. This is why existence is cyclical in nature. We come into physical form and we go out of physical form forever, without end. We all return. And the historical figure, who is commonly referred to as Jesus, is no exception to this. Can I prove that I was him? No, of course I can't. And I'm not especially invested in convincing anybody to believe me on this. I care much more that you are willing to know the real definition of the word number. The main reason I talk about this subject is so that I can emphasize what we all are, Jesus included, and what we all are not, Jesus included. Truth comes first, and the physical is its expression. This is the opposite of what human culture says, but it is the truth. And really, how could it ever have not been? You only need to go over that list of the things our experts say to get a real sense of just how little human culture cares for the truth. Human culture cares for nothing but its own furtherance. And this is as true of religious culture as it is of the sciences. Where the sciences are willing to say that numbers are subjective and the three spatial dimensions are a physical construct, we have religions that are willing to say there is a creator God who is responsible for everything, including himself. They will say it, and they will say it, and they will not stop saying it. Human culture cares only for its own furtherance, and not at all for any truth that gets in the way of this. This is the truth of the matter, and it is a truth that is plain enough. I was crucified that other time, not for talking of God, but for saying that we are the eternal, which was heresy back then and is heresy today. It is heresy. It is also the truth. Back then, I was crucified for it, and today I am suppressed and ostracized for it. The things I say are as simple and true as can be, and there is every reason for you to be glad of this. And all of human culture hates it with a passion. We are the eternal. We have no choice in this. There is no inherent virtue in this. And yet, we are entirely innocent in it because we can have no choice in it. We can have no choice about being the eternal. Such is the very nature of being eternal. We can only have choice in what we do with it for ourselves, and what we do bring ourselves and each other when we are making choices that are coherent with the truth of our eternal situation does indeed feel like heaven when compared to the incoherency of the choices of a human culture that is entirely amnesiac and entirely invested in its own furtherance over and above all truth. Dear Christians, of course you are not able to accept me as being him. Not because I am not him, but because I am. And what was written about me long after my crucifixion was not written by me, but by the descendants of the very people that had me crucified. I am not the archetype written by the children of my murderers. I am the real man, the standard human being, who is as eternal as all human beings are, as eternal as you are, which is utterly and absolutely eternal. I am not here to send any of us to hell. I am here to help every single one of us out of the hell we are already in. And the name of this hell is human culture. While you defend it and believe in it, you defend and believe in hell. And it is only a hell of the devil insofar as the devil is a metaphor for the lie, which is the inversion of truth. The truth that we are who we are. We are the eternal, always have been, always will be. The truth is simple and it is plain, and it can and does result in the greatest beauty. But that beauty comes as a result of us. It comes as a result of our choices and our compassion for ourselves and each other, for being children of eternity who are forever innocent in the face of an eternity we are never given a choice about. I am the I am, as are you, as are all of us. How shall it be otherwise for that which is eternal? We are the eternal, and human culture is what we produced while amnesiac. It is the reflection and embodiment of the fears and insecurities we experience when we do not know, when we do not remember, when we believe we are small, vulnerable and mortal, and must do whatever we can to make ourselves safe. Human culture tries to make itself safe. And in order to do this, it makes itself into a monster. Human culture is a monster, but it is our monster. We write our monstrous laws, and we inflict them on our children. Hurt children hurt children. They hurt their own children. It is time for us to stop defending and believing in our monstrous culture. It is time for us to stop being monstrous to ourselves, to each other, and especially to our children. My dear old mother said, whatever's in your head, there's a rhythm in the river, a rhythm in the river. The world is just your soul, it smolders like a coal. Cool it down in the river, the freedom of the river. My friends and I agree that we will always be holding hands in the river, the rhythm of the river. You follow the lodestar, 'cause you know that you are the rhythm of the river, the power of the river. A monster comes for you, but you're a monster too. So feed it to the river, the rhythm of the river. You needn't make amends, 'cause nothing ever ends. So give it to the river, the wisdom of the river. Oh, my friend, it never ends. Your soul is overgrown. The day is growing cold, and you have lost your gold. You'll find it in the river. You're burning in the river. It comes as no surprise. You listen to the lies, but look into the river for the flower of the river.